P2C resilient and trustworthy connectivity for all by addressing key issues like infrastructure, coverage and usage gaps, affordability and accessibility of devices and data, technologies, and reliability of service. Through a collaborative multi-stakeholder approach, P2C aims to find answers to these issues, define specific gaps, and create an overview of the required interventions, policies, and pledges to bring 2.9 billion people meaningfully online by 2030. Are you ready to help us bring digital transformation to the hardest to connect communities? Join P2C. Be part of this global effort. Pledge for connecting people everywhere, or for any of the other focus areas of the coalition. Visit www.itu.int/partner2connect or email us at partner2connect@itu.int.
Well, welcome to day 2 of the Partner to Connect Roundtable, where there has been enormous energy in a lot of very innovative pledges and partnership discussions, and I know we will continue with that today. I'm David Kirkpatrick of Techonomy. I'm going to be your host for today, and I'm going to start by telling you the interpretation channels for the translations. Number 1 is English, 2 is French, 3 is Spanish, 4 is Russian, 5 is Chinese, and 6 is Arabic. 1 English, 2 French, 3 Spanish, 4 Russian, 5 Chinese, 6 Arabic. We are going to go right into our first high-level panel with some really interesting pledges from all over the world. And in order to bring that to you, let me introduce Kate Wilson, CEO of the Digital Impact Alliance, who will be our moderator for the session. So Kate, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be the moderator for today's session. I was reflecting after the conversations yesterday led by Doreen Bogdan-Martin, by President Kagame and Minister Ingabire, how transformative digital technology has made the experience for Rwanda and for so many countries around the world. Digital transformation is a journey that we are all on, and we are each here to learn from one another about the meaningful aspects of digital technology, capacity development, infrastructure investments that we are making, and how we can work together to learn from one another on that journey. I'm very inspired both to be one of the moderators for this panels today, but also to be one of the high-level panel chairs for the Partner to Connect initiative. In that, we are focused on how we're going to build digital ecosystems. And I want to turn it over to my colleagues here to talk to you about the pledges that they are making today on this journey, both to connectivity as well as digital transformation. I first want to start with Minister Zerbo Aminata. Minister?
Morning, bonjour. D'accord. Monsieur le Président de la CMDT, Monsieur le Secrétaire général de l'IUT, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs et les représentants des organisations internationales, distingués délégués, Mesdames et Messieurs, au nom du gouvernement du Burkina Faso, je voudrais tout d'abord exprimer ma profonde gratitude aux autorités de la République du Rwanda pour l'accueil cordial qui nous a été réservé et pour les excellentes conditions de travail mises à disposition dans le cadre de la présente CMDT. Je voudrais également féliciter et remercier l'Union internationale des télécommunications pour l'opportunité qu'elle nous donne de nous réunir, de réfléchir et de dégager ensemble des axes et pistes de contribution au développement des télécommunications pour le bien de tous. Honorables délégués, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, C'est également un privilège et un honneur pour moi de participer à la première édition de l'initiative Partner to Connect qui nous permettra de prendre des engagements forts pour le développement de nos réseaux et services dans le prochain cycle 2023-2026, et ce afin que ceux qui ne sont pas encore connectés le soient. Je m'en voudrais ne pas saisir cette opportunité pour adresser à Madame Doreen Bogdan, directrice du Bureau Développement de Télécommunications, et à son personnel, toute ma gratitude et ma reconnaissance pour cette belle tribune. Honorables délégués, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, depuis la libéralisation du secteur des télécommunications réalisée vers la fin des années 2000 au Burkina Faso, notre pays enregistre des progrès notables en matière de développement des réseaux et services de communication électronique. Cependant, d'énormes défis demeurent auxquels il convient d'apporter des réponses appropriées en vue de bâtir une société de l'information inclusive. Ainsi, conformément au référentiel national burkinabé en matière de télécommunications, adopté en 2018 et dénommé Stratégie nationale de développement de l'économie numérique SNADEN, notre pays s'est engagé à orienter le développement du secteur des télécommunications sur principalement deux axes, à savoir l'accessibilité et la promotion des investissements. La présente plateforme permet à notre pays de réaffirmer son engagement à poursuivre ses efforts sur ces deux axes. Concernant l'accessibilité, il s'agira pour nous de poursuivre et renforcer la collaboration intelligente et la synergie d'action État-secteur privé afin d'étendre l'infrastructure sur la base du schéma directeur d'aménagement adopté en 2018 et de couvrir les provinces qui ne le sont pas encore, et également augmenter le nombre de communes couvertes, de poursuivre la couverture des zones blanches pour connecter les zones rurales les plus reculées et veiller à améliorer l'accès aux services aux personnes vulnérables ou vivant dans les zones à haut défi sécuritaire, et ce grâce au mécanisme d'accès aux services universels. En ce qui concerne la promotion des investissements, le Burkina Faso promet de renforcer la dynamique de construction d'un environnement propice, attractif et sécurisé aux investissements en faveur du développement de l'économie numérique, et ce à travers l'adoption continue de cadres juridiques et institutionnels arrimés à l'évolution rapide du secteur. Honorables délégués, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, il est désormais communément admis que les télécommunications sont au cœur de la croissance et de la compétitivité des entreprises et des nations et constituent le moteur principal de l'atteinte des objectifs de développement durable. Ainsi, je mesure la responsabilité qui est la nôtre en tant que décideurs politiques et autres acteurs majeurs du secteur dans la concrétisation des engagements pris. Je voudrais saisir l'opportunité de cette tribune pour réaffirmer de manière solennelle que mon pays croit fermement en l'UIT et en la coopération internationale et reste disposé à contribuer de manière active à la vie de notre organisation. C'est pourquoi le Burkina Faso, par ma voix, vous informe qu'il est candidat au renouvellement de son mandat au Conseil de l'UIT. Je voudrais à cet effet solliciter, ce très humblement, votre appui lors des élections qui auront lieu en septembre 2022 à Bucarest, en Roumanie. Honorables délégués, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, je voudrais pour clore mon propos formuler le vœu que les résultats de la présente CMDT soient à la hauteur de nos attentes et à réaffirmer toute la volonté du Burkina Faso à contribuer activement à la construction d'une société mondiale de l'information, inclusive qui concourt significativement au développement durable pour tous. Vive la coopération internationale, vive l'UIT, je vous remercie.
Thank you, Minister. Now, moving from Burkina Faso to Europe, to Finland, I'd like to introduce Mr. Aki Eckenberg.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be part of the panel. My name is Aki Eckenberg. I'm the head of the Finnish delegation to Kigali. And to introduce the Finnish P2C pledge, we have a message from our Minister of Transport and Communications, Mr. Timo Harakka.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to take part in this roundtable and announce Finland's pledge related to the Partner to Connect digital coalition. Digitalization holds great potential for accelerating progress towards the sustainable development goals. However, the benefits of internet and mobile technologies remain very unevenly distributed. Lack of meaningful and secure connectivity is a critical bottleneck which we must tackle. Digital development is a long-term focus area in Finnish development policy. In line with the Agenda 2030, our goal is full participation in the digital sphere for everyone. We place particular emphasis on bridging the gender divide and supporting the green and digital transition of the African continent. It is clear that current efforts for expanding digital infrastructure and connectivity in developing countries are not sufficient. We especially need to look at new ways for mobilizing private capital for this purpose. The EU's recent Global Gateway strategy forms an important framework for mobilizing investments for improved cooperation between the EU and developing regions. Finland operates in the Team Europe framework and the Digitalization for Development Hub to implement this ambitious strategy. Finland pledges to co-fund regional Team Europe initiatives with $9.3 million. These initiatives will relate to improving digital connectivity, digital governance, and innovation ecosystems to support human-centered, inclusive digital transformation. Finland's support will have cross-cutting emphasis on gender equality, non-discrimination, and climate sustainability. Investments into green and secure digital infrastructure and innovation partnerships between the EU and Africa are priorities for Finland. This is why we work closely with our national stakeholders and international partners to take this pledge forward. Thank you for this possibility to announce our pledge from Finland at this high-level panel. I wish you all a very successful World Telecommunications Development Conference 2022.
We are truly moving around the globe today. So now it is my deep pleasure to invite the Minister from Nepal, Minister Karki, to offer his pledge to the Partner to Connect.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, warm greetings from the people and the government of Nepal. On behalf of the government of Nepal and my delegates, I wish to thank ITU and the government of Rwanda for inviting us in WTDC. This year, theme on connecting the unconnected to achieve sustainable development is most appropriate in the context of Nepal, where we have challenges of difficult geographical, terrain, poverty, and the digital literacy. I feel that the ITU Partner to Connect Digital Coalition Roundtable discussion is suitable forum for strengthening our cooperation to reduce digital divide and enhance our people's digital capability. Nepal is at the verge of digital transformation after the formulation of Digital Nepal Framework 2019. The Digital Nepal Framework is a blueprint that provides a roadmap to how digital initiatives can contribute to economic growth, find innovative ways to solve major challenges in shorter period with small resources, and identity opportunities for Nepal to participate in the global economy. It encompasses one nation, 8 sectors, and 80 digital initiatives, out of which most of the activities at present are focused laying digital foundation. The government of Nepal aims to ingrain all activities to be implemented digitally by 2025, which policy reforms and the formulation of new legislation. On this roundtable discussion, I, Gyanendra Bahadur Karki, on behalf of the government of Nepal, pledge to empower Nepalese citizens through digital information. Further, our government is committed to connect the unconnected by using universal service obligation fund in order to improve the capacity of individuals to engage in digital economy and to enhance the foundation for digital government. I once again would like to thank ITU and the government of Rwanda for organizing such an excellent event. I wish all for the successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Secretary of State, yeah, would you like to provide remarks from Romania?
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and delegates. On behalf of the Romanian government, I'm happy to have the opportunity to address today to such a distinguished audience. We are happy to be part of the Partner to Connect Digital Development Roundtable and bring our contribution to the initiative. I would like to also extend my appreciation to the government of Rwanda for hosting this milestone event that has a critical attention-oriented approach in advancing universal and meaningful connectivity for people. Last but not least, allow me to, on behalf of the Romanian delegation, to express my deepest gratitude to the authorities of Rwanda for the warm welcome and impeccable organization of the conference. This landmark development event that charts the course for the next 4 years of ITU's development sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing a period of rapid technology change with great impact on every area of our lives. As the future of society around the world is going to be a digital one, there needs to be a greater coordination across areas of competence. For us to shape the way current generation align to the future requirements of a digital-first environment. We acknowledge that the COVID-19 pandemic has created an unexpected opportunity to accelerate digitalization. It has emphasized the importance of digital technology in laying the groundwork for a long-term economic recovery, including building resilience for the future. The digital transformation has led to changes in everyday life and work environment, and the technology evolution based on innovation is reshaping both society as a whole and the future of the workforce. The pace of change will never be slower than today, and it is essential that we keep pace with the digital revolution which is unfolding. Romania has, as major objectives, the development of a coherent and integrated digital infrastructure at the level of public administration that would offer the possibility to access high-quality digital services to both citizens and companies. The surge of digital skills and digital education for citizens and workforce to keep up to date with rapid technological advancements, and also the development of a digital ecosystem education to reduce the gaps and provision of frameworks for cybersecurity, data protection, online safety, and IT ethics. We are committed to act firmly and consistently to a new trajectory for how future generations will be better prepared and more competitive from this perspective. The digital mindsets start from the early step and should take advantage of progress in connectivity, widespread use of digital devices, and latest communication tools. A priority for Romania is improving accessibility to digital service to encourage employment among young people and most vulnerable social groups. At the heart of our investment in digital technology sits a plan to elevate digital skills of educators. The development of the digital competences among teachers is critically important and for the development of a digital society. The Romanian government is actively involved in taking essential steps to enhance and create new policies that will boost the digital education. We accelerate progress on digital learning and digital skills, promoting policies that led to eliminating barriers. We support advanced digital education for women and girls and discourage any form of discrimination or digital divide. As ITU member, Romania stands ready to contribute to the future collective efforts in support of better policies for improving quality of life, overall well-being and prosperity of our citizens. Thank you for your kind attention.
We'll turn now to Indonesia. Her Excellency Minister Taibia will not be able to be here in person, but will be joining virtually for remarks. Minister Taibia.
Excellencies, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, greeting from Jakarta, Indonesia. In the era whereas almost every aspect of our life become digitalized, the development of ICTs has become not only a necessity, but also a journey that every nation needs to pursue. In such spirit, Indonesia is striving to accelerate our national digital transformation, which consists of 4 areas, namely digital infrastructure, digital government, digital economy, and digital society. Undertaking strategic measures to realize Indonesia as a truly digital nation by fostering the digital ecosystem to be more inclusive, empowering, and sustainable for all. Against this background, we are of the view that the digital infrastructure and digital society areas of Indonesia's Digital Nation Roadmap are linked to 2 Partner to Connect focus areas, namely access and adoption. Pertaining to the access focus area, through the deployment of digital telecommunication infrastructure with diverse technology ranging from backbone, middle mile, and last mile, Indonesia pledges to provide accessible digital connectivity for all through deployment of 4G connectivity to cover our nation with a total of 83,218 villages in 2022. This is a vision of an all-embracing digital transformation that will connect the unconnected and leave no one behind. With regard to the focus area on adoption, we are also exerting ourselves to nurture the nation's digital talents so the people would be able to use, adopt, and develop digital technology in a productive, safe, and responsible manner. Henceforth, we pledge to provide digital literacy program to 50 million people by 2024 and digital talent program to 300,000 people through various digital upskilling programs at the basic, intermediate, and advanced levels to capitalize on our demographic bonus and cater the need of 9 million digital talents. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on this important occasion, allow me to convey that Indonesia has submitted its candidature and would highly appreciate all member countries' invaluable support for Indonesia's membership of ITU Council and the candidature of Dr. Meditomo Sutiarjoko as a member of the Radio Regulations Board for Region E during the elections at the forthcoming ITU Plenipotentiary Conference 2022. Lastly, I would like to extend my highest appreciation to ITU for conducting this Partner to Connect or P2C Digital Development Roundtable that provides member states and other stakeholders valuable opportunities to share their pledges. I thank you.
From Indonesia to Liechtenstein, I'd like to introduce you Dr. Rainier Schneppfeiter, apologies, Director of the Regulatory Authority Office for Communications.
It is better to honor to use my first name. So good morning, everyone. I have a really good one for you today. Imagine a very brutal neoliberal approach, but also doing an awful lot of good. Sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Let's go into it. I just love that thanks to the ITU, we have internationally a level playing field where also small countries like Liechtenstein can contribute on a global level to change and to improve lives. As a regulatory authority, we have filed for 600 low Earth orbit satellites. That's not special in itself. What is special is that the operator, Rwanda, firmly believes that in creating affordable connectivity through local entrepreneurship is key to sustainable digital development. Typically, satellite operators provide capacity at a fixed cost per month. Rwada's business model is very different and based on two pillars. The first one, the bulk of the capacity will be sold to, I would call it, the usual suspects: government, mining, shipping, telco, and so on. The second pillar of the business model is the very interesting one. Capacity will be auctioned off, very similar to electricity markets. And this second pillar, this auction platform, has three wonderful side effects. The first wonderful side effect is that connectivity will become affordable in low income and remote areas. The second wonderful side effect is that Rwanda is only selling B2B, no B2C. So this encourages local entrepreneurship to provide the very end customer services to the local constituency. Thirdly, and very important, this is not charity. There will be no worry about annual financing rounds. It's part of the business model. So this business model with this open access market platform means that wholesale buyers locally will be able to bid what is affordable, which is the market clearing rate, which again is the affordable rate. Rwanda has pledged 112 million US dollars towards creating this equitable marketplace for satellite capacity, so nobody is left offline. Complete global coverage should be achieved by 2028. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Schneipfleider. I'd now like to turn to Australia and Ms. Kathleen Solari, who will be introducing Australia's pledge.
Thank you, and good morning, distinguished colleagues. Firstly, let me say how inspired I am by the pledges made by government and the private sector under Partner to Connect. This initiative provides action-oriented, tangible outcomes critical to connecting the unconnected and ensuring that we all benefit from digital transformation. I commend Telecommunications Development Bureau and Doreen Bogdan-Martin for placing these goals at the heart of this conference. Let me also tremendous thanks to our Rwandan hosts for going above and beyond to make WTDC and the Youth Summit a success, and the ITU for ensuring this event takes place in Africa for the first time. Today, we pledge to continue working hand in hand with the ITU Regional Office in Bangkok and member states to bridge the global digital divide. Our annual voluntary contributions exemplifies our pledge. Australian-funded multi-year projects under the Connect to Recover initiative tackle the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic by fostering sustainable infrastructure and enhancing digital connectivity in Asia and Pacific. We are also supporting innovative activities in our region under the ITU Smart Islands and Smart Villages framework. A safe online space is another priority for us. Via the Australian-funded ITU Child Online Protection Project, we are strengthening children's online safety across several Asia-Pacific countries. Our flagship cyber and critical tech cooperation program, with a total value of more than $74 million, supports the Indo-Pacific partner countries to benefit from opportunities presented by the internet and digital technologies, but at the same time strengthening cyber resilience. The program was complemented in 2018 and renewed in 2022 by an Australian Papua New Guinea Memorandum of Understanding on Cyber Security Cooperation. Under this partnership, we are working closely with Papua New Guinea to reinforce cyber resilience by helping to establish a cybersecurity operations center and delivering technical training and mentoring in incident response. So far, over 400 professionals have been trained. Australia remains committed to bridging the gender digital divide and building a more inclusive ITU. We are proud to support youth and women delegates from the Pacific to attend WTDC and the Youth Summit, and we pledge to continue supporting the participation of regional members in key ITU events. We have also sponsored an ITU training course to bolster the meaningful participation of women in the upcoming plenipotentiary conference. As part of our commitment to gender equality, Australia is sponsoring a network of women breakfast on 15th of June, focusing on the implementation of Resolution 55. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Larry. I'd now like to turn to Her Excellency, Ms. Dima Aliyaya, the Secretary General of the Digital Cooperation Organization.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. ITU Secretary General, ITU, is it working? Oh, okay. I can't hear it. So good morning, everyone. ITU Secretary General, ITU Telecommunication Development, Director of Telecommunication Development Bureau, distinguished ministers, representatives, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Digital Cooperation Organization and the countries that we represent, we would like to thank the host, the Republic of Rwanda, President, and also Honorable Minister of ICT and Innovation, Her Excellency Paula, for giving us this opportunity, demonstrating and believing in the power of collaboration to bring in digital impact and prosperity, which is exactly the values that we stand of as DCO. Also, I would like to thank the ITU for their relentless efforts to close the digital divide. We truly unite when it comes to our values and our vision and believing in the future of in which everyone has the potential and the right and for an opportunity in the digital economy. We have came a long way, but the journey is yet, we have a long way to go as well. Two-thirds of the future workforce still is not connected at home. And we look at 40% of SMEs in developing countries are online, and only 19% of women in LDC countries are still not connected. So our pledge today is that the Digital Cooperation Organization commits to bring in digital leaders, innovation catalysts from all over the world, and also all segments of society for a series of roundtables discussing and focused on the greatest digital development challenges we are facing today. Through multi-stakeholder agreements and collaborations, we will co-create and co-design actionable, inclusive, and locally relevant policy recommendations to strengthen the global digital ecosystem. All will start here from Africa. Our roundtable will start in Rwanda today, a continent making tremendous strides in digital development and inclusion. The DCO was established to empower people, everyone, to harness the opportunities in digital economy and digital ecosystem. We have grown our DCO coalition to more than 600 million people. We work around the world, all over the world, bringing in public sector, private sector, and civil society together to impact either policy, research, innovation, and also initiatives to impact our digital future. We really believe that together we can enable a digital economy for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General. I'd now like to turn to Mr. Mickey Watkins, the CEO of World Mobile Group Limited here in the United Kingdom. He has promised me a short pledge today earlier, so.
It's like Zoom, the same. You forget to press the mute. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. all protocols observed. My name is Mickey Watkins and I'm the CEO of World Mobile. We have pledged to connect more than 1 billion people by 2030 using our mobile network. We have also pledged to invest $350 million inside the African continent, which we have already begun in tens of billions of dollars in Zanzibar. World Mobile is a new economic model, a new kind of network, utilizing infrastructure, hybrid balloons, assets, aerial assets, and ground assets, but most importantly, a sharing economy in which everybody wins. The World Mobile network has a cost factor of 12 to 1 compared to existing mobile networks. Together, united, with the help of the regulators, with the help of partners, with the help of everybody, there is a chance to connect the world. The global growth of connectivity has only come to 2% in the last 2 years. Much of this down to COVID, but much of this down to legacy business models and legacy practices, which has left all of us in a box, unable to reach out to the rest of the world, which ultimately has left the rest of the world offline. We have approximately 3 billion people offline. This means that every 1 in 2 people cannot speak to each other. This means that every 1 in 2 people are not able to communicate like we are today and tune in and be on this panel. This is not right. This is incorrect. It's very important, collaboration. Telecoms only works with collaboration. Together, we can change the world, and together, we can begin now. Talking is great, but action is just as important. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that inspiring pledge. I'd like to now turn to Aaron Boyd, the managing partner of Welshman Keen from Singapore.
Good morning. Secretary General Zhao Holin, Director Doreen Bogdan Martin, Director Chase Lee, Director Mario Manovich, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues and friends. The rapid pace of ICT development has made reliable connectivity a reality for much of the world. However, an estimated 2.9 billion people remain unconnected. As laudable efforts to close the gap progress, it is important to do so responsibly, ensuring that policy, regulation, planning, and investment truly address the needs and requirements of the people we seek to connect. Welshman Keen, a global technology advisory firm and I2D sector member, supports public and private stakeholders in enabling effective, sustainable, and secure connectivity policy, ensuring right-sized technology policy and solutions intended to truly benefit new digital citizens. To that end, Welshman Keen has developed the Assess framework, which serves as a functional model whereby we may evaluate ICT projects across 6 dimensions, whereas ICT should be accessible, sustainable, suitable, ethical, safe, and secure. Inspired by the Sustainable Development Goals and ITU's own best practice guidelines, the objectives of the Assess framework is to ensure Welshman Keen's work across both private and public sectors always adheres to these principles. As such, Welshman Keen seeks to provide meaningful assistance to the ITU and its membership in areas that will truly make a difference. In line with the Cyber for Good initiative and under the access focus area of Partner to Connect, Welshman Keen is formally pledging our programmatic in-kind contribution of cybersecurity capacity building to be made available to member states on an immediate basis. Welshman Keen has engaged with stakeholders to curate a suite of specialized training content, resulting in over 50 available modules tailored specifically to meet the most pressing cybersecurity capacity building needs of developing countries. These trainings cover areas such as critical national infrastructure protection, privacy and data protection, talent retention, and modernization of national cybersecurity strategies. The market value of this effort amounts to $480,000 US. It is our hope that our contribution will be an impactful first step in helping countries foster a safe and secure online environment. We are honored to support Partner to Connect and pledge our continued support and commitment to ITU's thematic priorities as we work together to realize digital transformation and promote effective policies to securely and responsibly connect the unconnected. Thank you.
And now I'd like to turn to Ivan Suarez.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I want to talk about something that I haven't heard enough during this conference, which is climate change. And I'm pretty sure that everyone in this conference is aware that our world is changing. It's a bit unsafer. And it's unsafer because of natural disasters. Natural disasters are just the result of the climate crisis. Now, the unfortunate part may be that we're not using all the tools available to us to fight climate crisis. Our pledge as Access Partnership, a long-term ITU family member, I will say, and also committed to be the anchor between the private sector and the public sector. We want to keep providing the information and the expertise that governments and the private sector require to address climate change and the climate crisis with one specific type of technology for this pledge, which is satellite connectivity. I want to talk to you about facts. Some of you may have a piece of research in your chest, and in that research, you'll find a couple of interesting trends. The first one is the upwards trend of annual natural disasters in every region. Now, let me give you a number. That's 37%, not in 2030, not in 2040, in 2025. If you don't realize that's 2.5 years from now. The sad part of all of this is that low income and middle income countries are the ones that suffer the most because of geography, preparedness, economic factors. Another piece of interesting data provided in that research that you have there. The economic impact of natural disasters, and this is on a positive forecast, would be 97%, which in simple terms mean doubling the current economic impact. And just to give you some context, that's 0.5% of our global GDP. For even more context, that's the size of Denmark, the size of Singapore, or the size of Colombia as individual economies. Now, if you look at that research, I'll tell you something else. There are a couple of scenarios. One of them is what we call the business as usual, right? Where we don't do anything from an engagement point of view, a policy or regulatory change, creating modern legislation and modern policies that assist the growth of the satellite industry. Now, once again, in that scenario, low income and middle income countries get hit harder. Now, on the contrary, we have a chance to do this if we allow from all stakeholders a connectivity revolution, a satellite connectivity revolution, where satellite connectivity is widely used in all its forms, technology agnostic, everywhere. Not only will save lives, which is the important aspect of this pledge, but also will save money. Look at the data, $148 billion. That's a lot of money, excuse me, Chair. That's a lot of money that can be put to work elsewhere. Our pledge is quite simple. One life lost is one too many. It is our responsibility, not just as humanity as a whole, but in this conference, from a policy point of view, to make sure that we save as many lives as possible. Thank you, sir.
So over the last 40 minutes, we've covered the globe. We've talked about multiple sectors that have been affected, from climate change to education. And we've talked about the challenges that are facing digital transformation taking place around the world. At the Digital Impact Alliance, we view one of the key aspects and requirements as being a focus on digital public infrastructure enabled by digital public goods. Digital public infrastructure is complex, and it is more than connectivity, although connectivity is first and foremost essential, as we've talked about today. It is an identity, so people have a way to credibly authenticate themselves. It's ensuring payments so people can participate in transactions, which are increasingly moving online, including even entering Rwanda yesterday. And it's a focus on data exchange, which is the connective tissue that ensures that all data flows can move seamlessly and that are controlled by people themselves. However, focus on this infrastructure is not complete without giving equal weight and attention to how digital platforms are governed and how the data generated on these platforms is secured, protected from misuse, and importantly, leverage to benefit people. This is why Dial is so invested in initiatives like Partner to Connect, and we are thrilled today to be one of the few joint pledges that are invested in this. And we, together with our partners, GIZ, UNDP, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, USAID, SIDA, the Swedish International Development Agency, the DPGA Secretariat, and GitHub to make a joint pledge to P2C. Our organizations together are committed to increasing advocacy and mobilizing financing for digital public infrastructure through the introduction of a charter for digital public goods. This charter for digital public goods is not developed solely by our organizations or by anyone. It's a movement of all of us. The benefits of this charter are to build over the next year a shared global vision on how we can expand and strengthen a digital public goods ecosystem that it supports all of your digital transformations journey. And by the end of 2022, we commit to gather input on the charter framework through a consultation and process that includes at least 50 governments, and I invite all of you to participate today, and conduct additional outreach led by international and local civil society organizations, technology companies, and nonprofit organizations to shape our future. To that end, I really want to thank our panel and P2C for gathering these critical stakeholders together around an opportunity to advance the growth of DPIs in the most ethical and efficient way possible to achieve the SDGs, and to make partners together where we are all collaboratively and collectively building the future that we believe in. Thank you all so much for participating in our panel this morning. Thank you so much, panelists, for participating. Your pledges were inspiring to me and hopefully to our audience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, panelists. And as we transition to the next high-level panel, I just have to say, what Kate was just saying is so impactful, and I'm so struck by the unanimity about the crisis that we face of leaving so many unconnected thus far, and how much action is planned to address that. So let's get the next panel up there to continue this impressive series of statements and pledges about taking real action on this global crisis. So to all you panelists who are going on stage, I just want to make a couple of quick comments for you. Please do lean into the microphones when you speak so we can hear you clearly. And to reiterate, there is a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. The timer is displayed on the screens, and the annoying digital bell that you hear is to indicate that the 3 minutes are up. So all of you, do lean into your microphones, you speakers on stage. And to get us going, I'd like to introduce the moderator of this high-level panel number 4, Naria Santalucia, General Manager for Digital Inclusion at Microsoft. So Naria, take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I just want to especially thank the ITU and Director Doreen Bogdan-Martin for their leadership in bringing all of us together from the private sector, the public sector, civil society, all to meaningfully connect 2.9 billion people around the world. So I know that we've heard a lot of wonderful pledges yesterday and this morning, and I'm very excited about this distinguished panel of guests and how they will add to our work to provide access, increase adoption, create value, and accelerate investments. So panelists, we talked about this, but like this, it feels so close. This is how it should be. And then there is, of course, a 3-minute intervention time. There were dings, so let's not get a ding because that would not be good. We want you to get your whole pledge out. And finally, I will try my best with your pronunciation of names, and please extend grace. Thank you. All right. So we are going to start with His Excellency, the Honorable Dr. Jenfen Muswere. Minister of ICT, Postal and Courier Services, Zimbabwe.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure being part of this august session of the WTDC, in the partner to connect session. Greetings from Zimbabwe. My name is Honorable Dingumuzi Puti, the Deputy Minister of ICT, Postal and Courier Services, representing Dr. Janfan Muswere, the Minister. Indeed, Zimbabwe is humbled to be part of this august session, as well as the entire conference, and many thanks to the ITU as well as the host country for such illustrious organization. Ladies and gentlemen, in terms of universal connectivity, Zimbabwe pledges to deploy network coverage to currently uncovered rural and remote areas of Zimbabwe through deployment of 500 shared sites of multi-operator radio access network that would be shared by a minimum of 3 mobile operators. Each site includes access roads, civil works, towers, security fencing, plus active equipment. Offshore funding is required to meet this. And of course, imports, whilst other expenses such as civil works can be funded from the Universal Service Fund to expedite the project. The project is intended to benefit more than 1,700,000 people in Zimbabwe who reside in areas currently uncovered. The estimated budget for the project is $400 million, and Zimbabwe, through the Universal Service Fund, is able to invest $200 million in the project and will require financial partners for the rest. Zimbabwe pledges to sponsor research on affordability of service delivery in digital literacy, emerging technologies for smart, sustainable cities, cybersecurity, smart health, and delivery systems to the tune of $500 million annually over the next 4-year period. We also pledge to encourage the private sector and other countries in the region carry out similar research for help in such areas. Whilst the first $500 has been raised, the remaining 1 million will be required from partners that we work with. Zimbabwe is so committed to the work of the ITU. And lastly, let me say it is indicative of such a gesture by the candidature of our Dr. Cosmas Zava, who will be standing for the Telecommunications Development Bureau. I thank you.
Thank you so much. What an amazing approach, comprehensive approach to cover 1.7 million uncovered people. So next we have His Excellency Idris Saleh Bakar, Minister of Posts and Digital Economy, Chad. The floor is yours.
Merci beaucoup. Mesdames, Messieurs les ministres, chefs de délégation, distingués délégués, Mesdames, Messieurs, au nom de la délégation tchadienne, je saisis la présente occasion pour exprimer notre gratitude et nos félicitations au gouvernement rwandais pour l'organisation grandiose de la conférence mondiale de développement des télécommunications et aussi exprimer notre reconnaissance aux autorités et au peuple rwandais pour l'accueil chaleureux et les excellentes conditions de séjour et de travail offertes depuis notre arrivée dans cette belle cité légendaire de Kigali, berceau de tolérance et de l'unité. J'adresse également au peuple et au gouvernement des pays présents à cette conférence mondiale du développement de télécommunications les sincères sentiments d'amitié du peuple tchadien. Distingués délégués, le Tchad, situé au cœur de l'Afrique centrale, bien qu'énorme avec une superficie de 1 284 000 km², a décidé de miser sur les opportunités qu'offre le numérique pour diversifier son économie. Dans cette optique, en 2014, le Tchad s'est doté d'un arsenal juridique qui a permis de mettre en place la régulation des communications électroniques, la protection des données, la cybersécurité. Et cette réglementation a permis de créer 3 agences, l'agence de développement l'Agence de la sécurité informatique et une école. La création de cette dernière, c'est-à-dire l'Agence de sécurité, est la résultante de la mise en œuvre de la 5e initiative régionale pour l'Afrique, adoptée en Dubaï en 2014, intitulée Instauration de la confiance et de la sécurité dans l'utilisation du TIC. Fort d'expérience d'un cadre politique et juridique adapté favorable, le pays s'est octroyé un document cadre de référence dénommé aussi Plan stratégique 2017-2021 et s'est permis de mettre à jour ce plan stratégique en un plan stratégique 2020-2030 et ça nous a permis de réaliser 1200 km de fibres et interconnectés avec les 2 pays voisins qui sont le Cameroun et le Soudan. Nous avons aussi lancé des travaux de construction de 1600 km de fibres en interne. Nous avons lancé aussi le projet trans-sahélien pour s'interconnecter avec le pays voisin, le Niger, et aller sur la Méditerranée via l'Algérie. Ceci nous a permis d'atteindre 80% de taux de couverture de la population, avec 14,2% de taux d'accès d'Internet, qui est passé à 21% cette année. La contribution de TIC au Tchad est passée de 3% en 2014 à 8% en 2020. Distingués invités, mesdames, messieurs, comme je disais, nous avons notre plan stratégique qui est axé en 6 axes et la mise en place de ce plan stratégique demande la synergie d'action. Et comme ça a été dit lors de l'ouverture de la cérémonie par son Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République de Rwanda, tout le monde a besoin de tout le monde pour développer. Donc nous demandons vraiment la contribution des uns et des autres pour que le plan stratégique tchadien et le plan stratégique des autres pays soient mis en place. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. And again, what an amazing comprehensive approach. Next, we will have a video address from His Excellency Dr. Amr Talat, Minister of Communications and Information Technology of Egypt. And to introduce the video is Mr. Amr Safwat, Manager of African Organizations from the Ministry of ICT. And remember the microphone very close.
شكرا جزيلا سيدتي مديرة الجلسة الموقرة. السادة الوزراء الحضور الكريم، إنه يشرفني أن أقوم بتقديم كلمة السيد الدكتور عمرو طلعت وزير الاتصالات وتكنولوجيا المعلومات بجمهورية مصر العربية حول التعهد الوطني الخاص بمبادرة حياة كريمة. شكرا جزيلا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيدات والسادة، يسعدني أن أشارك اليوم بفعاليات المؤتمر العالمي لتنمية الاتصالات باستضافة كريمة من الشقيقة رواندا. ويطيب لي أن أحدثكم عن مبادرة حياة كريمة، والذي نعده أهم مشروع تنموي جرى على أرض مصر في تاريخها المعاصر. أطلقت المبادرة عام 2019 لتستهدف قرابة 60 مليون مواطن في 4500 قرية بالريف المصري في مشروع قومي واحد للارتقاء بمستوى الخدمات المعيشية والاجتماعية والصحية في إطار من توحيد الجهود بين مؤسسات الدولة الوطنية ومؤسسات القطاع الخاص والمجتمع المدني وشركاء التنمية. وتعمل المبادرة على دمج رؤية مصر 2030 مع استراتيجية مصر لقطاع الاتصالات وتكنولوجيا المعلومات وما ترمي إليه من بناء مصر الرقمية، وتشمل معظم الركائز 17 لأهداف التنمية المستدامة. يأتي دورنا كأحد الأذرع التنفيذية للمبادرة في إنشاء شبكات البنية التحتية الداعمة لتوفير خدمات الاتصالات والخدمات الرقمية والبريدية، ذلك بجانب بناء القدرات الرقمية بما يعزز مفاهيم التحول الرقمي وتطبيقاته والشمول المالي وخدمات الحكومة الرقمية. تتمثل محاور عمل قطاع الاتصالات وتكنولوجيا المعلومات في تطوير البنية التحتية للاتصالات للارتقاء بمستوى الخدمات لجميع القرى المصرية المستهدفة في المبادرة على حد سواء، بتوصيل شبكات كوابل الألياف الضوئية لكل بيت من أكثر من 3 ملايين منزل تضمها القرى المصرية، ليصل مرفق الإنترنت فائق السرعة لنحو 60 مليون مواطن، فضلا عن المباني الحكومية لتيسير الحصول على الخدمات الرقمية. نسعى أيضا إلى التوسع في إنشاء الأبراج الخلوية التشاركية لتغطية كافة القرى بشبكات خدمات الاتصالات المحمولة. كما نسعى لتحويل مكاتب البريد إلى منافذ أساسية لتقديم الخدمات الحكومية الرقمية، فضلا عن تعزيز التنمية البشرية من خلال محو الأمية الرقمية وتنمية القدرات الرقمية. وهنا أؤكد على أن تضافر جهود كافة المؤسسات الوطنية المسؤولة لاستمرار تنفيذ المبادرة للوصول إلى تحقيق حياة كريمة للمواطن المصري. كما أؤكد على أهمية التعاون مع شركاء التنمية المعنيين والداعمين للمبادرة المصرية تحقيقا لأهداف التنمية المستدامة العالمية. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you. That approach also shows how interconnected all this, the digital skilling and literacy and all the connectivity and postal services and government services really need to be. So thank you so much. Next, we have Her Excellency, Ms. Agne Vaicikevičiūtė, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Transport and Communications, Lithuania. The floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to address you and announce commitments of Lithuania in this strategic event. By 2025, my country pledges to improve connectivity in remote and rural areas and boost digital innovation in Lithuania, support countries in Africa and Asia in empowering communities and building digital ecosystems, assist Ukraine in rebuilding their telecommunication sector, as well as contribute to the development of cybersecurity incident response ecosystems in African, Caribbean, and European countries. Ensuring high-speed internet access for everyone is a challenging everywhere across the world. The Lithuanian government, together with the private sector, will invest around $350 million into the deployment of the necessary infrastructure. I'm also proud to announce about the development cooperation strategy for Africa, where for the next 3 years, which was approved by Lithuanian government and private sector, is ready to implement it by organizing training programs in Africa and Asia. Private sector is also ready to share innovation solutions and best practices in using ICT in order to build digital ecosystems in sustainable mobility and road safety. 12 countries worldwide are being selected to be covered by these activities. I would like to emphasize that a robust cybersecurity ecosystem is critical. Lithuanian private sector company NRD Cybersecurity is a leader in this field and has submitted its pledge to this summit to provide on-site training opportunities on the establishment of national, governmental, and sectorial cybersecurity incident response teams. They are ready to contact 15 countries in Africa and the Caribbean and Europe in this regard. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to use this opportunity to invite you all to our reception this evening, 5:30, and engage further about how we could all make sure that this great organization continues to be fit for the times we live in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful approach with the rural communities in your country, as well as extending a hand to other nations. And the cybersecurity component is especially important for all nations. Thank you very much. Next, we have Mr. Sungyu Kim, Director General of the International Cooperation Bureau, Ministry of Science and ICT, Republic of Korea. The floor is yours.
Distinguished delegates and ladies and gentlemen, the unprecedented global crisis of COVID-19 made us recognize the importance of ICT and the seriousness of the digital divide again. Against this backdrop, the WTDC 22 seems a very timely and meaningful conference. The rapid digitalization came with undeniable benefits, but also marginalized many parts of the society. Despite the rapid ICT development over the years, the international communities are still making joint efforts to connect the 2.9 billion people who remain unconnected. As you must be well aware, Korea has made active policy efforts and investment in ICT. This has led to nationwide broadband coverage and helped the citizens not only have access to ICT services, but also use those services easily. Also, in April 2019, Korea became the first country in the world to launch commercial 5G services. Korea's total 5G subscribers now hovers over 20 million. Furthermore, and in February this year, the government published the 5G Plus strategy implementation plan to continue its efforts to foster a world-class 5G industrial ecosystem. Korea also recognizes that it's important to build a well-organized safety net to leave no one behind in the digital world and ensure benefits for all. To this end, a draft bill for the Digital Inclusion Act was published and is in the legislative process. The Digital Inclusion Act is aimed at establishing legal grounds for enhancing digital capacity building for all citizens and ensuring better access to digital services for digitally marginalized groups such as the elderly and disabled people. The Act will also designate and nurture inclusive technologies and services to use digital technologies for supporting social minorities. Korea is carrying out diverse ODA projects to share Korea's development experience and achievements in the field and the ICT sector, and has been conducting joint projects with the ITU since 2008. I'm confident that these projects will play an essential role as we navigate through digital transformation and global change accelerated by COVID-19, while leaving no one behind. I'd like to thank all ITU staff, especially Director Bogdan Martin of the BDT for supporting Korea to make these projects produce successful outcomes. Korea will continue to be a devoted partner of ITU and its members and supports the global efforts to improve connectivity. I pledge that Korea will contribute to achieving SDGs, which will be built on improve the connectivity by participating in joint projects with ITU through voluntary contributions and partnership with other member countries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. And of course, congratulations on the 5G deployment. We can all learn from that, and also on the digital inclusion work as well. So next we will be having a speaker join virtually. We have Ms. Zlatina Nikolova, Head of Information Technology Directorate, Ministry of Transportation and Communications, Republic of Bulgaria. Please proceed. I think you're on mute, actually.
I'm unmuted already. Thank you. Thank you all, distinguishing excellencies, distinguished participants, dear organizers, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me congratulate the Rwanda government for the great event and the organizers of WTDC for the initiative Partners to Connect, which is a step towards promoting the accelerated digitalization of businesses and societies. It is an honor for me to present the Bulgarian pledge. As a small country, for us, the digital transition is a key to strengthen the social and economic resilience to achieve sustainable growth, potential, and job creation. The COVID-19 crisis has accelerated the trends towards the digital transformation by reinforcing the significance of digital infrastructure, online education, and SMEs digitalization. Broadband access is becoming an increasingly important factor, not only for the competitiveness, but also for supporting social inclusion, while simultaneously expanding the opportunities for development and use of digitally based services, including e-government services. Of course, the deployment of high-speed connectivity can lead to significant increase in gross domestic product, employment, the competitiveness of national and world economy, and increase the quality of life. Bulgaria recognizes the broadband access as an essential element of digital transformation. Non-discriminatory, safe, and effective internet access must be provided as a service in the public interest so that everyone can participate in economic and public life. In this regard, we will be heavily investing until 2026 in the deployment of broadband infrastructure, which should provide affordable services for all. The focus is set on rural and sparsely populated areas as we strive to effectively bridge the digital divide, not only in the geographical sense, but in the social sense. The investment covers the heaviest part, the passive infrastructure, and we expect the businesses to invest in the last mile, covering maximum number of people. The Bulgarian government recognizes that favorable investment environment is crucial for promoting connectivity and access to high capacity networks, as well as to support the development and protect the interests of citizens. This is our second pledge. By heavily digitalizing administrative processes and guaranteeing access to information and infrastructure, we aim to promote investment in networks with very high capacity due to their crucial importance for achieving sustainable economic growth. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. As with this initiative, we are given the opportunity to exchange good practices on really global level. We have a long way to go, but we are walking in the right direction. Thank you again, and congratulations to all.
Thank you so much. And so important to remember access, to have that meaningful access to make the connectivity affordable is very, very important. Next, we have Mr. Ahmed Norad Zahari, Undersecretary Communications Technology Division, Ministry of Communications and Multimedia, Malaysia.
Thank you, Moderator, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and selamat pagi. First of all, I would like to congratulate the government of Rwanda for hosting this important event of WTDC 2022 and his hospitality. Also to the ITU for the excellent arrangement and organizing partner to connect. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia commits to boost digitalization and advanced technology towards building a high technology-based economy. This will be undertaken through advancing the digital economy, mainstreaming digitalization for inclusive development, accelerating research and development, commercialization and innovation, and capitalizing on the potential of advanced technology. To achieve this, and in connecting the unconnected in Malaysia, access to fixed broadband services in Malaysia will reach 9 million premises with 100% 4G coverage in populated areas and mobile broadband speeds of up to 100 megabit per second on average by 2025. Furthermore, 5G is targeted to reach 80% of populated areas by 2024. Additionally, it is envisaged that approximately 1,080 digital economy centers will have reached out to 800,000 micro entrepreneurs, leading to an average upliftment of their income by 30%, as well as providing access to digital economy opportunities to over 20 million Malaysian citizens. Moving forward, Malaysia envisions an ITU which will be sensitive to the varied development needs of its members, be responsive in coming out with fit-for-purpose strategies and action plans to meet those needs, and be innovative in offering solutions in addressing future challenges faced by its membership in a dynamic and fast-changing sector, even as we strive to connect the connected to achieve sustainable development in the world. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And bold ambitions around 4G, 5G, and the micro-entrepreneurship focus is wonderful as well. Next, we have Mr. João Cadite de Matos, Chairman of ANACOM, the National Telecommunications Authority of Portugal.
Good morning, all of you. It's my pleasure to participate in this panel, and it's really a privilege to have the opportunity to speak after my friend from Malaysia. Because Portugal, we have all to see with Malaysia, And we can see the same if I look to my dear friend, the chairman of ENCM, to Ahmad from Mozambique, because Portugal was able during our past centuries to construct connections between Europe and all the other continents. And talking about other continents, a special word, compliment to Doreen. Thank you to be here with us. We can count with our support, and we are sure that we also will count with your help to implement the commitments that we are assuming here today. And the commitment that I would like to share with you, based on this experience of connecting different continents, it's the importance of the development of submarine cables, smart submarine cables. And when I talk today about smart submarine cables, it's important because I don't know if you all are aware that today we celebrate the World Oceans Day. It was a United Nations decision some years ago, and it's important to see the contribution that smart submarine cables could give. And we are working on this direction to use smart submarine cables to help not only for a great connectivity, but also to the preservation of the oceans, improving the world cooperation against climate change. This is one of the main ideas, the projects that we are developing in Portugal concerning the connection through submarine cables with our islands of Azores and Madeira in the middle of Atlantic Ocean, but also with the other continents, with America. Was the case of the recent cable between Brazil and Portugal, linking also Africa, Cape Verde. So all these submarine cables should be used not only to improve the connectivity, but also to introduce new possibilities, namely the use of sensors that could be very important for environmental and seismic detection, and a lot of service to the scientific community. And so we can benefit of early warnings of tsunamis or earthquakes to the population, and this is really an important achievement. So we aim to develop the blue economy oriented to innovation hubs. We trust that our projects match the very core of the ITU activities, and thus we pledge our commitment to cooperate with other stakeholders in implementing them. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the innovation with the submarine cables. And you were right on time. Wonderful. Next, we have a pledge from the private sector. We'll turn to Ms. Magdalena Breyer, Managing Director, Pro Futura Digital Education Program, Telefonica, and you'll be joining virtually. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will make my pledge in Spanish. I hope it's okay. So, distinguidos miembros del sector de desarrollo de la Unión Internacional de Telecomunicaciones. Estoy aquí para presentar el compromiso de Telefónica con la coalición Partner to Connect, que es el programa de educación digital Pro Futuro. El programa nació con el objetivo de reducir la brecha educativa en el mundo, mejorando la calidad de la educación en entornos vulnerables. Para ello combinamos el uso de la tecnología, evitando que la brecha digital agrave la brecha educativa ya existente, con experiencias innovadoras de enseñanza y aprendizaje. Desde 2016 el programa se ha implementado en 40 países de América Latina, Caribe, África y Asia. Ha beneficiado directa e indirectamente a casi 24 millones de niños y ha formado a más de 1.200.000 docentes en todo el mundo. Como he mencionado anteriormente, nos enfocamos en los más vulnerables, incluidos lugares de extrema pobreza, escuelas desconectadas y población refugiada. Nuestro trabajo se enfoca en 4 elementos clave que tienen un impacto directo en la calidad de la educación. Primero, formación y apoyo al profesorado. Los docentes son la clave del programa, desencadenan el proceso de aprendizaje en los niños y por lo tanto juegan un papel vital para lograr un cambio significativo en la calidad de la educación. Pro Futuro proporciona a los docentes itinerarios de desarrollo profesional y herramientas para fortalecer su práctica docente, su capacidad de gestión del aula y sus competencias digitales, ayudándoles a integrar la tecnología en las aulas. Segundo, un ecosistema digital. Profuturo ofrece un ecosistema digital completo que consiste en una plataforma de aprendizaje, un LMS, que funciona tanto online como offline, y equipos tecnológicos cuando es necesario. El tercer elemento son los recursos educativos digitales de alta calidad. Profuturo ofrece un catálogo de itinerarios educativos que permiten vivir experiencias de aprendizaje memorables y transformadoras en el aula. Promovemos el desarrollo de competencias del siglo XXI en docentes y alumnos de educación primaria y secundaria. Y el cuarto elemento en el que nos centramos es la recopilación de datos, el seguimiento y la evaluación del programa. Supervisamos y evaluamos continuamente el programa para comprender y mejorar cómo ocurren los cambios, medir el impacto del programa y dar feedback a los docentes para ayudarles a mejorar su trabajo. Profuturo se constituyó en 2016 y tenemos el compromiso de seguir trabajando por el mismo camino para contribuir al cumplimiento de la Agenda de Desarrollo Sostenible 2030. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Breyer. That is a very comprehensive program as well, and I think the focus on teacher capacity is wonderful, and there are probably many people in the room that would like to find out more about that program. So next, also from the private sector, we have Mr. Mark Van Kopenola, Vice President, Head of Government Affairs International, Nokia.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to talk at this highly relevant WTDC conference. Let me start by saying that connectivity is not a luxury, it's a right. And yet the digital divide continues to disadvantage people both socially and economically. As we know, today, roughly 2.9 billion people remain offline, and among the 4.9 billion who count as internet users, many only get a chance to go online infrequently via shared devices or using poor connectivity speeds. This digital divide needs to be addressed urgently, and there are good arguments for it. As the World Bank states, raising the internet penetration to 75% of the population in all developing countries could create more than 140 million jobs around the world. To shrink the digital divide, we need to act together. Hence, the criticality of the Partner to Connect program. Close collaboration between the public and private sectors, both on the supply and demand side, like pooling investments for connectivity, focusing on delivering the necessary digital skills for people. These can make a huge difference. At Nokia, we create technology that helps the world act together. We provide the critical networks that enable digital access. Our broadband solutions bring connectivity to households, community centers, hospitals, and libraries, and provide access to healthcare, education, employment, and public services. Looking ahead, Nokia has set a target to improve the lives of 1.5 million people by the end of 2025 through socially driven digitalization projects, digital skill building, and connecting the unconnected or underserved. At Nokia, we are proud to be part of the Partner to Connect program. Let's work together to make it happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And yes, connectivity is a right. And thank you for highlighting the need for continued public-private partnership as well. And our final speaker, before I get to do a small pledge, is Mr. Mishuki Mwangi, Distinguished Technologist, Internet Growth, Internet Society. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the Internet Society would like to take this opportunity to thank the ITU for this forum and for leading the Partner to Connect Digital Coalition. At the Internet Society, our work for the past 30 years has been anchored to our vision and belief that the Internet is for everyone. However, there's still a long path to that vision. Today, nearly 3 billion people remain unconnected. Among our key focus areas are initiatives that provide connectivity to people in remote, rural, and underserved areas. These are the places where there is a greater need for the development of digital skills and innovative connectivity solutions, such as community networks, that have proven to be successful in complementing the work of traditional operators. In the last 2 years, we have supported over 50 community networks globally, and there is a need to do more. It is for this reason that the Internet Society is pledging to support the deployment of 100 complementary connectivity solutions and to train 10,000 people to build and maintain internet infrastructure by 2025. In addition, the Internet Society Foundation pledges to triple its funding to provide $3 million for digital skills development through its skills program, and to expand it to reach 6 additional countries in Africa, Latin America, and Asia. The Internet Society Foundation also pledges to award $1 million to support innovative solutions to connect the unconnected through its BOLT program. Our pledges today will scale up our work considerably. It is a decision we must all make to put our experience, expertise, and resources into action for the common goal of universal connectivity. We know that no one organization can do this alone. We are therefore pleased to have the expressions of support for our pledge from organizations such as Connect Humanity, the Association for Progressive Communications, APC, Mozilla Corporation, Partners in Education Ethiopia, and the Bahar Dar Institute of Technology. To conclude, I invite you to reach out to myself and my colleagues who are here at WTDC to explore how we can join forces to make sure that the internet is really for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and a very bold pledge to scale your work. So excited to hear more. And finally, I wanted to just turn your attention to the cameras. We're going to have a brief message from Microsoft's president, Brad Smith, as well as vice chair of the board of directors, who will be introducing Microsoft's pledge.
Hello, I'm Brad Smith, the president and vice chair of Microsoft, and thanks for giving me a moment to share with you today. I want to say how pleased we are to be part of the Partner to Connect initiative, how proud we are to be part of something that I think has moved forward so well. Just 2 weeks ago, I had a chance to sit down in person with Doreen Bogdan-Martin in Davos at the World Economic Forum. It was a reminder, frankly, of the power of her persuasion, because she's the one who made the case successfully to get all of us at Microsoft leaning in and pushing forward on the engaging communities pillar, and really to do more than, frankly, I think we ever envisioned to help advance skilling. Digital skills, as so many of you know, are one of the causes, they're one of the needs of our time. Thanks to this program, we have committed to reach 10 million people by 2025, to bring them digital skills. And believe me, when we make that kind of commitment, we deliver, we will. And I look forward to seeing what all of these new people of talent will do. Hello, I'm Brad.
So Brad, who is one of the leaders of Focus Area 2 Empowering Communities, there talked about our pledge to train and certify 10 million people with in-demand digital skills by 2025. And I'm also excited to note that we have a few other pledges at Microsoft that we're committing to the Partner to Connect network. First, our Microsoft Airband initiative, which seeks to advance digital equity through access to affordable internet devices and skills. That team is focusing on reducing the gender gap. They're collaborating with the Hunger Project in Malawi and will expand broadband access for 70,000 people, while also providing training and jobs in ICT. We have also pledged with U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, to continue our public-private partnership that brings improved internet access to women, with the aim of expanding economic opportunities in Guatemala, India, Ghana, Colombia, and Kenya. And finally, GitHub, the global software development platform and a part of Microsoft since 2018, has made 2 pledges. First, it will support the creation of 3 open source program offices in the United Nations system by 2025. And it has also added its name to the group pledge to launch a charter for digital public goods. So as you heard Brad say, Microsoft is so proud to be a member. We are going to deliver, and I have 5 seconds. I just want to say thank you to this amazing panel and distinguished guests for their great pledges. It's really been an honor to be with you today.
And congratulations to all of you for being so good at sticking to your time. And we now have a break until 11:30. We are right on time. So Naria, excellent work on the timing. And see you all back here promptly at 11:30. Okay, well, welcome back. And for something a little different, we're going to do a spotlight session now on the secret ingredients to last mile connectivity investment. So congratulations for resisting the Nigerian coffee and coming to the real substantial part of the program. You won't be disappointed. So basically, the challenge for so many places, so many parts of the world is how do we finance getting internet to everybody who needs it? And the three speakers we have here are experts on that. They've done a lot of work in that area, sometimes together, and certainly are going to tell you some interesting things that they've accomplished. So I'm going to immediately ask Andile Nkaba, who is founder and chairman, Convergence Partners Investments, based in Johannesburg, and also a focus area leader for the Partner to Connect Digital Coalition, to start by telling us a pledge that he is making.
Thank you, David, and good morning, everybody, and thank you again for hosting us, the government of Rwanda. Thank you to Doreen and the team for putting this great event and Partner to Connect over the last, since last September. Convergence Partners is a private equity fund in Africa. Basically, we are 20 years now. We have been investing in submarine cables, satellites, last mile connectivity. And really, we are really happy to be here, and we have been active since last week, participating in youth. Africa will have 2 billion people, 15 years from now. So a lot of work has to be done. So we are really happy to announce here, this morning that $250 million we are putting in digital infrastructure over the next 5 to 7 years. This is again to make sure that last mile fiber wireless, is connected into different parts of the continent, in schools, in business, in hospitals, in making sure that we can make sure when we get into that 2 billion people, who the majority will be youth, most of those young people are connected into the digital infrastructure. So we're really excited to be part of this event. Thank you.
Fantastic, Andile, and we'll come back to you. We're going to have a little discussion here after we hear from our speakers. Chris Burns, the Chief Digital Development Officer and Director of the Technology Division of USAID, has a pledge to make.
Thanks, David. Good morning, everyone. In the interest of time, I will just get straight to the point. There is a $40 trillion global infrastructure gap out there in the world that can only be addressed through collaboration and cooperation with governments, with the private sector, and with civil society organizations. And to close that gap, it's really going to require new models of public-private partnerships. To address that specific challenge, the Biden administration is prioritizing infrastructure for the developing world. In doing so, we are committed to values-driven, high-standard, and transparent infrastructure development. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced last week our broad U.S. government Partner to Connect pledges. I'd like to focus on one today for this panel, and that is our new Digital Invest blended finance program that is part of the Biden administration's Global Infrastructure Initiative. Digital Invest is going to use grants to mobilize the private sector to extend connectivity, including ISPs and digital financial services to the most underserved and marginalized populations of the world, particularly women. Through the U.S. Digital Connectivity and Cybersecurity Partnership, we are providing $3.5 million into Digital Invest into a series of grants that we think will unlock 100 times that amount. This year alone, we hope to bring in $335 million of additional private sector capital to extend that connectivity into underserved areas. And in doing so, we hope to be able to shape the private sector and build their confidence to invest in earlier stage, higher potential startups that have higher barriers to entry. But the US is not just focused on infrastructure alone for its own sake. Through USAID's digital strategy that is focused on open, inclusive, and secure digital ecosystems, we work across that entire field of digital development to extend that connectivity. I don't have the time to get into that today, but I did mention the Digital Connectivity and Cybersecurity Partnership that is a USG-wide investment. We have a pledge into Partner to Connect, where we have already supported $47 million worth of technical assistance and capacity building for countries themselves to build out their ICT policy and regulatory framework. So I'd like to note that we are open for business for any country that is focused on doing just that. Please let us know. Thank you.
That's a good invitation. Thank you, Chris. So Rolanda Price is country manager for Rwanda for the World Bank and has been involved with these kinds of efforts for some time. So react to what you've heard and just talk about what you've seen in terms of creative investments for last mile connectivity and what you'd like to see more of.
David, the one thing I can say, way to start off on a high note, $250 million of private investments on leverage, rural connectivity, focus on gender. These are all elements of the World Bank Group's strategy. And one of the key things that we are focused on.
Get as close to it.
Get as close to it. Can you hear me? Sorry. One of the key things that we are focused on is the fact that universal connectivity and accelerating digital transformation is what is going to unlock new pathways for growth and shared prosperity. And when we say shared prosperity, we're talking about the bottom 2 quintiles, the bottom 40% of the population. The bank is working in a number of different ways. The World Bank Group, I should say, is working in a number of different ways to try to bring more private sector investment, to try to address market failures, and across the board to do what is required in the first instance to create an excellent enabling environment for connectivity investments. There we're looking with governments at forward-looking broadband policies, at regulatory frameworks that deal with infrastructure sharing, for example. You asked me to drill down a little bit on other things that we've seen, on other innovative approaches. And one of the key things that we're doing in some countries, I can talk about Rwanda, but I'm taking the stage to say a little bit about what we're doing in Africa in general, is this advanced, large, financing, long-term financing of capacity for public services, so for hospitals, etc. This advanced large-scale financing is going to enable private sector to come in because they will have the assurance that there will be payments for the longer term. It's going to incentivize long-term investment. Of course, there has always been universal service funds, but using those and leveraging those universal service funds, we're working on what we're calling reverse auctions, where private companies essentially can bid for public subsidies that will help them to move into areas that we make it more viable for investment in unserved or underserved areas. And then, of course, the usual public-private partnerships, where through specifically World Bank financing, we are able to put the government's stake. And there, for example, we have done this in Comoros and with the Sao Tome Principe for underwater sea cables. So there are a number of different techniques or approaches that we're using. These, I think, are probably the most innovative.
Really cool. So Andile, talk a little bit about what's going to determine where that 250 million goes and how you work with other entities in order to really leverage it to its maximum capacity.
Just to, on the leverage side, to give an example, I mean, between us, between USAID, the World Bank, I mean, one of the companies in our portfolio called Sysquare. In Liberia, we together, as these three organizations, Sysquare, USAID, World Bank, we invested in a cable, in a fiber cable to wire, Liberia as an example. I mean, this is a classic, partnership models that we are looking at. How from a USAID, the World Bank, and the private company can work together, basically. So that 250 million, I mean, that's one example. Again, in Togo, in Lomé, we have a similar, environment working with the World Bank. So that's how we see, this partnership in different parts of the continent. So we really are inviting a number of DFIs. We're inviting a number of public institutions to collaborate in investing. I mean, I think we must have heard yesterday that no one can do this alone. That's what the minister from Rwanda said. So private sector, various, DFIs, public institutions, we need to collaborate to invest, to address, I mean, this gap of 2.9 billion people that need to be connected.
Great. So Chris, talk a little bit about how 3.5 million can unlock 300 million. And also, if you would address what countries in this room ought to do to be most able to take advantage of that kind of capability.
Sure. So the 3.5 million, and we're going to invest another 2 million this coming year. So the 5.5 million in total initially will go out to five fund managers, private fund managers, who will basically then work with investors and help them understand how to enter a new market or how to lower barriers of entry, particularly for smaller and mid-sized ISPs. And really, of course, putting in infrastructure requires a lot of CapEx and OpEx upfront. And so the fund managers will be able to help those investors with those upfront expenses so that they can then drive longer term investments. And so that's how we get 3.5 million leveraging over 330 million, just because of the power of helping folks understand what they need to do in the early stages. And I think as it relates to countries in this room and elsewhere, when you think about Andele's comment about what we've done together in Liberia, I think the through line there, and I think this is what should get investors really excited about investing in underserved markets, is we came in post-Ebola. So it was a health crisis that really needed solid infrastructure to be able to communicate, for example, between Ministry of Health and frontline health workers. And so when we fiber wired Monrovia and linked up all the line ministries and all the ISPs, and now we're building out the backbone around the country, it's really to facilitate frontline health workers and others to do their business. And so oftentimes we talk about connectivity for connectivity's sake. USAID, of course, in the business of development and humanitarian assistance. It's not just within public health, but within education, within agricultural production, all the sectoral work we do, that connectivity and payments and digital ID and all those foundational underpinnings really help us be more effective in everything we're doing. I think the same could be said for national governments as well as they look across their development plans.
Really good. One of the things that I am really taking away from this conference so far is the very healthy integration of ideas that are all necessary to bring to bear at once in order to really connect the unconnected. And it involves healthcare, it involves education, it involves climate resilience, and a lot of other things. So Rolanda, I know for the World Bank, those sorts of things really matter. And when local authorities and governments understand the potential of what connectivity can bring to those areas, it can help unlock funds. So talk a little bit about how you think about that.
Well, there are lots of different elements, as you say, David, that will essentially unlock this growth potential that we're talking about, that will incentivize that the investments that are needed. And I think one of the key things for us is that it's not just about coverage. It really takes into account, we have to look to see what are some of the constraints that are not incentivizing individuals, citizens to adopt this new technology. And we actually have, the World Bank has an ongoing program in digital acceleration in Rwanda. It's $100 million of IDA. It's another good example of leverage because we were able to, by, of course, with the support of the government, work with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and we were able to bring another $100 million to focus on many things, including digital inclusion. And one of the key things that we have found is challenging for adoption of new technologies in Rwanda is affordability. Affordability not just of the data packages, but affordability of broadband-enabled devices, but significantly also digital literacy. You get the phones into the hands of these persons, but they don't know how to use them. And a key element of this project under the digital inclusion pillar is training over 3 million people in digital literacy, many of them small businesses, so that they're able to use technology to be able to advance their business. It's also setting up, for example, a device access fund and looking at various guarantee approaches to make devices more affordable, to bring the private sector in more strongly and make devices more affordable. And it's also working with companies, of course, bringing greater competition, hopefully also to get down the cost of data packages in these rural areas. So these are some of the key elements. I mean, you mentioned as well climate change and others, but the very first thing for us is working on getting persons to know the benefit, the potential of technology, and then working with especially poor and underserved to be able to get those devices into their hands.
Fantastic. Really, we have to help articulate what's needed at the end in order to unlock the money at the beginning. And I think you all are doing an incredibly good job in moving in that direction. So thank you to all three of you. And now we're going to move to our next high-level panel. But I think we've started with some big ideas here. So thank you so much. So I'll move to my other position here. And will the high-level panel number 5 please join us on stage? Please go right on up there. And if you take too long, I'm going to spend even more time reminding you about the 3-minute limitation and the noise that will follow if you overcome it, and also encouraging you to lean into that mic, which we're getting better and better at as the day goes on. The interpretation will continue with English on 1, French on 2, Spanish on 3, Russian on 4, Chinese on 5, and Arabic on 6. And helping to get this thing going up there is our moderator for high-level panel number 5, and that is Bokhar Ba, who is CEO of the Samina Telecommunications Council. So Bokhar, I turn it over to you and look forward to hearing a bunch of great new pledges.
Thank you very much, David, for this short introduction. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. And I would like to welcome you to this very important discussion about Partner to Connect. It's a real pleasure, first of all, to be here in Kigali and to join this ITU's P2C Roundtable High-Level Panel 5. I will be your moderator, and at the end of the discussion, I will be also announcing the Samina Telecommunication Council pledge. I am Bokhar Ba, I'm the CEO of Samina Telecommunication Council based in Dubai. And as you know, partnership are key, and this is exactly what the Partner to Connect Coalition has been established to do in order to ensure that we can achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but also the Agenda 2030. The P2C, just very quickly to summarize, facilitates and catalyze new partnerships in 4 areas. The first one is access, which is connecting people everywhere. Adoption, which is about empowering communities. Value creation for building digital ecosystem. And as you know, in this digital development, the ecosystem is being more and more complex. And finally, acceleration by incentivizing investment. It's all about unlocking access to capital. Many organizations have submitted their pledge across these 4 areas, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing the pledge now from our distinguished speakers. Just a very quick formality, I would like to alert our speaker on while they will be announcing their pledge, that each of you have 3 minutes, which will be strictly enforced. There will be some music playing just before the 3 minutes mark of your intervention, which will give you about 10 to 15 seconds to complete your remark. Without any further ado, let me now, first of all, I would like, ladies and gentlemen, if you can give, because we will be running short time, one round of applause to all our speakers, please. Welcoming them. I would like now to call upon our first panelist, His Excellency Mr. Kim Dmitry, who is the Deputy Minister of Digital Development, Communication and Mass Media of the Russian Federation. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
So much. First of all, thank you to Rwanda. Thank you, Kigali. It's really wonderful. I never been here, but I'm sure I will be here a second time. Let me speak from my heart, but in Russian, if you don't mind. Уважаемые дамы и господа, ваше превосходительство. Несмотря на широкое внедрение цифровых сервисов, их распространение не является равномерным. У некоторых людей нет доступа к интернету. По данным Международного союза электросвязи, таких людей насчитывается 2,9 миллиарда человек по всему миру. Решение этой проблемы является одним из приоритетов для Министерства цифрового развития, связи и массовых коммуникаций Российской Федерации. В течение нескольких дней на территории Российской Федерации мы реализуем программу «Цифровая экономика Российской Федерации». В рамках этой программы ставятся цели для обеспечения доступности онлайн-среды. В частности, предпринимаются шаги для повышения доступности связи на всей территории страны и цифровизации социально значимых объектов. По итогам 2021 года доступом к высокоскоростному интернету мы построили оптоволоконные линии связи до более чем 50 тысяч социально значимых объектов. Все школы на территории Российской Федерации сейчас подключены по высокоскоростному каналу связи. Большой прогресс мы достигли и в подключении фельдшерских акушерских пунктов. Это наши медицинские учреждения, расположенные в самых удаленных и отдаленных уголках страны. При подключении этих объектов важно отметить, что в каждом из этих объектов строится узел связи, от которого в дальнейшем подключается все население, которое живет рядом с ними. Таким образом, мы покрыли сетями связи современным доступом в интернет большую часть нашей страны. С прошлого года мы начали реализовывать программу по обеспечению мобильной связью 4-го поколения всех наших самых маленьких населенных пунктов с численностью от 100 до 500 человек, таким образом предоставляя им возможность непосредственно получать государственные услуги в электронном виде. В 2030 году на всей территории Российской Федерации и всего мира будет обеспечена современная спутниковая связь. Для этого мы как модернизируем нашу имеющуюся геостационарную спутниковую группировку, так и запускаем новую спутниковую группировку, называемую Экспресс-РВ, на высокоэллиптической орбите. Специфика этой орбиты позволит обеспечить устойчивую связь в арктической зоне и на Дальнем Востоке. Тренд на цифровизацию носит долгосрочный и многогранный характер. Нашей первостепенной задачей является обеспечение всего населения возможностью пользоваться современными услугами связи и иметь устойчивый доступ к сети интернет. Со своей стороны отмечу, что Российская Федерация будет прилагать для этого все необходимые усилия, и мы готовы делиться накопленным опытом в рамках интеграционных объединений, форумов и по линии двухсторонних встреч. Благодарю за внимание. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for this impactful pledge targeting other means of connecting the unconnected. And as we all know, at the last GSR, we have adopted norms with the ITU for technology-neutral internet, whether it's terrestrial or satellite. Thank you very much for your pledge. Let me now open very quickly call upon Her Excellency Ms. Emma Theophilus, Deputy Minister of Information and Communication Technology of Namibia, to deliver her pledge. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, moderator. Very good morning to everybody. Namibia has made significant strides in providing high quality communication services to all Namibians since the introduction of our mobile services in 1995. And during the past 10 years, ICT impacted positively on the daily lives of Namibians, providing voice and data connectivity, enabling the delivery of financial service applications, and even e-government services such as online tax submissions, toll-free helplines during the COVID-19 pandemic, as various information campaigns, to name but just a few. Today, our telecommunication industry provides 2G and 3G mobile services to 95% and 89% of our population respectively. 4G coverage is provided to 79% of our population, made up of about 2.5 million Namibians. It is therefore necessary to continue expanding 4G networks into underserved and unserved areas to support communities in building a better future and to contribute actively to the Namibian economy. One such cornerstone is to ensure internet connectivity at all educational centers to provide learning opportunities to every child and upskill the youth, such as myself and adults, at our primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions through online education. Adapting and thriving in the digital world does not come without inherent risks. To this end, the Namibian government formulated a cybersecurity strategy to foster trust in the use of ICT services. The strategy will be implemented through the promulgation of our data protection and cybercrime legislation, the establishment of a national cybersecurity incident response team, and various cyber awareness campaigns to create a safer online environment. It is therefore my pleasure this morning to introduce Namibia's pledges in support of the Partner to Connect initiative. Firstly, Namibia pledges to establish the Universal Access Service Fund and the rollout of services through demand-side management to provide access to secondary schools and clinics in all underserved and unserviced areas in Namibia. Secondly, Namibia pledges to establish a national cyber and security incidents response team to support the operational cyber resilience of Namibia, fostering a culture of cyber awareness, and to serve as a focal point for coordination of responses to cyber incidents, as well as primary contact to liaise with national sectoral CERTs, as well as international CERTs at the regional and international basis. In conclusion, the Namibian government remains committed to improve the lives of our citizens and growth of our economy through increasing connectivity and safeguarding our cyberspace. I thank you very much, moderator, for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for this very strong pledge in focus on expanding broadband connectivity and on building trust on the net through cybersecurity strategy, which will help the education sector and the youth. Let me now call upon His Excellency, and I think we will have him online, Mr. Yun Ming Zhang, who is the Deputy Minister of Industry and Information Technology in China. He is joining us virtually for his remark. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
谢谢主持人，各位嘉宾，女士们、先生们，打开了。我谨代表中国代表团，听得见吗？我谨代表中国，听得见吗？能听见吗？
是谁？
我谨代表中国代表团对国际电联和卢旺达政府为筹办本次会议所做的努力表示衷心感谢。我发言的主题是连接每个人。近年来，中国政府积极致力为老百姓提供用得上、用得起、用得好的信息服务。一是夯实数字网络基础，提升可获得性。截至目前， 中国百兆以上宽带用户占比达93%，开通5G 基站近160万个，历史性实现村村通宽带。2是普及数字均等服务，保障可负担性，帮助残疾人、老年人等融入信息社会，持续推动降低通信资费，信息通信服务价格可负担性全球排名靠前。3是深化数字治理合作，增强可信任性，发起全球数据安全倡议，通过沟通对话，维护和完善网络空间多边治理体系。面对疫情阴霾和经济复苏压力，各国应守望相助，和衷共济。在此，我愿提出3点创意：一是增强数字化发展能力，加快网络基础设施建设，不断缩小数字鸿沟，营造开放公正的国际环境，构建互联互通的全球网络通道。2是激发数字化发展动力，利用信息通信技术，促进经济社会数字化转型，培育经济新动能，提升公共服务水平。3是凝聚数字化发展合力，加强沟通，扩大共识，深化合作，共同构建网络空间命运共同体。中国长期担任国际电联理事国，在即将召开的国际电联全权代表大会上，中国将竞选连任理事国，并推荐陈建军先生竞选无线电规则委员会委员，希望得到各国积极支持。中国愿与各国一道，继续支持国际电联工作，促进世界信息通信事业发展。谢谢大家。
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and we can hear clearly that China is taking very effective steps to ensure that digital development is at the forefront of the ICT strategy. And thank you for supporting the ITU. Our next panelist, ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, is Dr. Al-Sadiq Gamal Al-Din Al-Sadiq. He is the Director General of the Telecommunication and Post Regulatory Authority of Sudan. Dr. Sadiq, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bukar. I will speak in Arabic. السيد الأمين العام للاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات، السادة مدراء قطاعات التنمية والراديو والتغيير في الاتحاد، السادة الوزراء، السادة السفراء، السادة المدراء العامون، الحضور الكريم هنا في مدينة كيغالي الجميلة أو إسفيرين أينما كنتم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. إنه لمن دواعي سروري وفخري أن أقف أمام جمعكم الكريم اليوم لأعكس لكم عزم وإصرار وتعهد السودان على العمل مع الشركاء المحليين والإقليميين والعالميين، وعلى رأسهم الاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات، لتوصيل غير الموصلين وعدم ترك أي أحد في الخلف، وتسخير تكنولوجيا الاتصالات والمعلومات من أجل تنمية ورفاه الإنسان والمجتمع. يسعى السودان من خلال مشروع الخدمة الشاملة إلى توصيل المواطنين في المناطق غير المجدية اقتصاديا لمشغلي الاتصالات، ولا نكتفي هنا بتوصيل تلك المناطق، بل نعمل على إنشاء مراكز مجتمعية تقدم خدمات أخرى أولية تسهل حياة المواطنين، حيث كان صندوق الخدمة الشاملة بمجهود كبير في عملية التوصيل، ولديه خطة طموحة في مشاريع الربط ودعم عملية التحول الرقمي في البلاد. وهذا أحد تعهداتنا التي تعهدنا بها، ونسعى ونلتزم بتقديم نموذج ناجح يحتذى به في المنطقة. ويلتزم السودان كذلك بتدريب الكوادر العربية حاليا والإفريقية في المستقبل القريب للاستفادة من مركز الخبرة الإقليمي العربي بالشراكة مع الاتحاد الدولي للاتصالات في إنترنت الأشياء والانتقال للإصدار السادسة من بروتوكول الإنترنت الذي تم افتتاحه رسميا قبل أشهر قليلة، حيث يعمل المركز أيضا على تطوير الخطط الوطنية للانتقال للإصدار السادس من بروتوكول الإنترنت ووضع الخطط التي تساعد في الاستفادة من استخدامات إنترنت الأشياء في المشاريع التنموية. السادة الكرام، نفتخر دوما في السودان بأننا من أكثر الدول تقدما مقارنة بالدول النظيرة في دعم ومساندة السيدات في الانخراط في مجال تكنولوجيا الاتصالات والمعلومات. فقد تبوأت النساء في السودان أعلى المناصب في المؤسسات ذات الصلة الحكومية التعليمية والخاصة، وتزداد نسبة تواجد النساء في المؤسسات العاملة في المجال يوما بعد يوم، وبلغت نسبة مشاركة النساء اليوم 45%، وتصل إلى 50% في الاتصالات والتحول الرقمي ووحداتها في المناصب القيادية. يلتزم السودان بحكم موقعه الممتاز وسط القارة الأفريقية بتوصيل الدول غير الساحلية، حيث إنه محاط ب4 دول شقيقة غير ساحلية، وهي بدورها محاطة بعدد من الدول الأخرى غير الساحلية، وهذا يجعل فرصة السودان كبيرة للعب دور مقدر في توصيل غير الموصلين، حيث أن السودان يتمتع بخطوط ألياف ضوئية ممتدة إلى دول الجوار تصل إلى 33,000 كيلومتر. قبل الختام، لا بد بالإشادة بالجهد الكبير والإنجاز الذي لا يخطئ العين لقطاع تنمية الاتصالات في الفترة الأخيرة وتعاونه المستمر مع السودان، ولا يفوتني كذلك أن أشكر دولة رواندا على إتاحة الفرصة لنا كأفارقة لتقديم أنفسنا للعالم بصورة جيدة تدعو للفخر وإظهار أننا نستطيع أن نكون مع العالم الأول جنبا إلى جنب في تحقيق عملية التحول الرقمي. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was a great fast track for ending your intervention. Thank you again, and for your inspiring remarks. And three takeaway. One of them is, yes, leaving no one behind. We have a tendency to forget IPv6, which is mandatory, and also reaching SDG number 5, gender equality. Thank you very much, Sudan. And now I would like to invite Mr. Tembo Nyombi, who is the director of Uganda Communication Universal Access Fund. And Tembo, you have the floor for making your pledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Friends, the Republic of Uganda is pleased to participate in this ITU-led initiative, Partner to Connect. The Universal Service Fund of Uganda, on behalf of the Uganda government, has walked this journey for the past 20 years. The outcomes of this journey are phenomenal, though a lot is yet to be done. Achieving meaningful connectivity requires walking the whole length of broadband value chain ecosystem, comprising of connectivity, appropriate content, digital literacy, and last-inch connectivity. Uganda broadband coverage by population currently stands at 79%, and the target is to extend this to 90%. A study in 2019, State of ICT reviewed that 36% of non-internet users are digitally illiterate. It further revealed that only 6.6 households in rural areas have used the internet. We're therefore working towards interventions that are sustainable to tackle barriers to connectivity at both community and individual levels. Uganda commitment shall therefore focus on 3 thematic areas: access, adoption, and value creation. We therefore pledge a minimum of $6.7 million over the next 4 years as subsidies for establishment of passive infrastructure in unserved areas, reviewing costs of tower services to improve affordability, avail sub 1 gigahertz spectrum to facilitate low-cost deployment of radio access network, collaborating research and innovation. Our second pledge relates to the ongoing implementation of our digital literacy program that seeks to empower Ugandan population to utilize and harness ICT for socio-economic transformation. Over the coming 4 years, we pledge to set up this program through committing a minimum of $10 million for digital skilling for small and medium enterprises, people with disabilities, girls and women, persons living in poor communities, etc. Relatedly, to further supplement our digital inclusion efforts, we're implementing a pilot project that seeks to improve the level of device ownership among households. Our third pledge will involve implementing our household device project that seeks to address one of the key challenges of device ownership. We are pledging $4 million in the next 4 years. Lastly, in a bid to strengthen our digital ecosystem, Uganda leveraging on its youthful population, is moving towards strengthening its digital innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. This objective facilitates the development of implementation of local digital solutions to address critical socioeconomic challenges. Here we are pledging $700,000 to pilot this strategy. Overall, the government of Uganda pledges to commit $30 million towards interventions that will enhance ICT inclusivity. May I use this opportunity, sir, to invite our friends with great utmost humility at a tea break starting at 4 at Terrace 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nyombi, for outlining your pledge, which will cover, yes, definitely access, adoption, and value creation using the Universal Service Fund. And I will reiterate this invitation this afternoon, and we will be delighted to join you. Thank you very much for the invitation. Let me now, ladies and gentlemen, call upon Ms. Celia Reyes, who is the Director of Telcor Nicaragua, and I apologize in advance for my Spanish. Directora de Titulación y Atención Operadores y Usuarios. I think I deserve a very good round of applause for my...
Thank you so much for trying. Buenos días, apreciables colegas, apreciables delegados. En nombre de mi país, Nicaragua, en nombre de mi institución Telcor, ente regulador de las telecomunicaciones, y en el mío propio quiero agradecerles por la oportunidad de estar en este panel y en este hermoso país. Quisiera dar inicio comentándoles que para este año 2022, mi país, Nicaragua, se ha trazado una serie de objetivos bastante ambiciosos a desarrollar en el próximo año 2023. Considero que de todos los objetivos planteados, el más ambicioso es la modernización de nuestro marco regulatorio vigente, el cual data del año 1995. Es decir, que para el próximo año 2023, mi país, Nicaragua, espera poder tener una nueva ley de telecomunicaciones moderna y acorde con las mejores prácticas internacionales, así como todos sus instrumentos de aplicación. En ese sentido, naturalmente tendremos que emitir normativas específicas que estén acorde y orientadas con la nueva ley de telecomunicaciones, como son la normativa de compartición de infraestructura, que es un tema de suma importancia para nuestro país, la normativa de portabilidad numérica, que es un derecho de los usuarios, la normativa de prestación de servicios de telecomunicaciones, de título habilitante, entre otros. Asimismo, Nicaragua está dando los pasos para la planeación estratégica y la correspondiente elaboración de la hoja de ruta para la implementación de la tecnología 5G. Recientemente, nuestro país publicó y actualizó el marco regulatorio de la prestación de datos y nosotros consideramos de que para el próximo año y en un plazo de 3 años esté implementada la tecnología 5G para que los ciudadanos podamos hacer uso de todos los beneficios que implica esta tecnología. El monto estimado para poner en marcha todo estos objetivos es de $4 millones. Muchas gracias.
Thank you for your excellent pledge. And I wish you good luck in the deployment of 5G. I would like now to call upon my dear brother, Mr. John Omo, Secretary General of the African Telecommunication Union. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Boka. Welcome to Africa, the cradle of mankind, yet the youngest in terms of technology. Now we are the ITU of the region. And so with the sort of disparities in terms of access in Africa, in terms of gender, in terms of our youth, we as the ITU, the ATU rather, is keen on investing in innovation and empowering Africa's largest population, that is the youth. And for that reason, the ATU pledges to develop and foster Africa innovation ecosystems and digital industries. To implement this pledge, the ATU will build the capacity of innovators and expose Africa's talent to potential seed funders and venture capitalists on a sustainable basis. The ATU also intends to create an innovation portal that will serve as a focal point for innovators and ecosystem stakeholders. We target at least 5,000 talented young innovators from Africa to be the beneficiaries of this pledge. Connectivity is another significant disparity area, even though the continent is recording a steady increase in internet usage. Africa is lagging in the migration to IPv6, yet it is increasingly becoming evident that African countries will need more IP addresses to connect objects and devices to the internet. But the more disturbing issue is that even for IPv resources that exist in the continent, some of these resources are already under attack by middlemen out of this continent. And so we need to sensitize our people working with various registries to ensure that these resources are used for the benefit of the continent. ATU is committed to accelerating the development, therefore, of IPv6 in Africa, and we have developed a strategic framework and roadmap for that purpose. And so our pledge is to train a minimum of 200 experts, 2 per country, on the migration from IPv4 to IPv6, and also to engage experts in assisting countries in setting up the necessary institutional reforms in our countries. We will also engage in capacity building in that regard. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omo, for this great pledge focused on migration from IPv4 to IPv6. And I'm sure that will be essential for accelerating the digital development. Our next speaker now will be speaking from Korea. I think we should have him virtually. I would like to call upon Mr. Keping Yao, who is the Senior Governance and Public Administration Expert at the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs in Korea. Please, Mr. Yao, the floor is yours. You can make your pledge.
Thank you so much, moderator. Excellencies, distinguished participants, I'm very pleased to deliver this short intervention on behalf of the United Nations Project Office on Governance, part of the Division for Public Institutions and Digital Government of UNDESA. I would like to highlight the capacity development support that our office has been providing for member states to facilitate digital government development and digital transformation. Our office is dedicated to strengthening public administration capacity and promoting effective, accountable, and inclusive public institutions. During our recent capacity needs assessment of public institutions in Asia Pacific and East Africa regions, our customer countries are also requesting capacity development support for advancing digital government. I would like to address 3 dimensions of our capacity development support in digital government and digital transformation. Firstly, we conduct research and develop training toolkits and assessment tools. Our office has been contributing to the biannual UN e-government survey. This flagship publication of UNDESA presents a systematic assessment of the use of ICT to transform and reform the public sector with analysis on trends of global digital government. We're also developing training toolkits and assessment tools based on the building blocks of digital government and digital data governance. For example, we have developed the curriculum on governance for the SDGs, including the training toolkit on innovation digital government for public service delivery. We also provided handbook on digital government capability assessment. Currently, we are developing a handbook series on innovative local governance for the implementation of the SDGs, including digital transformation in local governance and promoting local innovation for inclusion of people in vulnerable situations. We are also developing training toolkits on digital data governance and also the capacity for digital government transformation. For capacity development activities, we strive to include the digital government case studies, exercise, and study visits for the digital government workshops. We also implement technical assistance project at a request. We also provide advice services to countries at their request. We also organize capacity development webinars on digital transformation, leveraging ICTs and digital government for innovative solutions to address the COVID-19 pandemic. We also organize study visits. Our office has been also put great emphasis to facilitate the digital cooperation, including the South-South cooperation. Our office has been organizing an annual regional symposium on effective governance and digital transformation as a platform for policy dialogue on digital government and innovation. Our office has also been working very closely with other UN agencies, including ITU, as well as other diverse partners. We also apply a holistic approach to digital government and transformation with an interconnected focus on strengthening public governance. Lastly, we will continue our endeavor to support the member states in the efforts to accelerate digital transformation and advance digital government. We also welcome government institutions from developing countries, especially African countries, to send their official requests to the director of the division or the head of the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs for capacity development support. Thank you for your attention. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Yao, for your pledge. Very important, it targets a holistic approach for supporting digital government in the developing nation and fostering the digital transformation. Excellent, thank you very much. Do we have Ben on the stage? Yes. I would like now, ladies and gentlemen, to call Mr. Ben Roberts, Group Chief Technology and Innovation Officer of Liquid Intelligent Technology from the UK. Mr. Roberts, the floor is yours.
Hello.
Okay, thank you. I love a technology problem. So thank you to the ITU for putting this event together, and I think it's been very good. I've enjoyed taking part in it, and it's also, we've just become the newest member of the ITUD, I think, off the back of this work on the PTC Summit. So I've got two pledges to make today. The first is around focus area 3, building digital ecosystems, and it is our program for Hub of Hubs connectivity for innovation. Through our Hub of Hubs connectivity program, Liquid Intelligent Technologies aims to provide affordable, meaningful, ultra-high-speed connectivity to connect communities of hubs, enabling young entrepreneurs to access digital learning and digital tools, and to grow their skills and incubate their innovations. Furthermore, by partnering with interested organizations such as hub associations, we aim to assist innovation hubs in smaller towns and cities and focus on those that are manufacturing, making products, to not just software. So that's how we want to improve inclusivity. Our second pledge is around focus area 1, connecting people everywhere, and focus area 4, incentivizing investments. And that is a focus on schools connectivity at the heart of our strategy. So Liquid Intelligent Technologies, we have a vision for a digitally connected future that leaves no African behind. But earlier this year, the UN Secretary General said that since 2019, millions of students have lost months, even years of learning. The reality was that the pandemic exposed the digital divide, with education being the most affected area. To date, Liquid has deployed over 100,000 kilometers of fiber, connecting cable landing stations to cities and data centers, the first mile, national backbones to all population centers, so the middle mile, but also on the last mile, metro networks connecting buildings, towers, universities, internet service providers, and last mile wireless access providers, and also getting to homes and other locations. We have connected over 4,000 schools to meaningful broadband across this continent when we've been doing this, but there are very many more that can be connected, and many of them are extremely close to high-speed fiber. Our pledge is to focus on connecting schools to internet at the heart of our strategy, in our rollout strategy, using our assets and partnerships to deploy meaningful connectivity. By mapping locations of schools, planning our backbone networks with school coverage in mind, working with partners like UNICEF on this, linking sources of financing to large-scale education connectivity projects, partnering with development finance, export finance, universal service funds, etc. And then deploy infrastructure and connect schools using our fiber access, wireless broadband, last mile ISP partners, or satellites for the most remote locations. All of this will be achieved through global and local partnerships to solve this difficult challenge to make sure that no learner is left behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robert, for sharing your pledge. Yeah, we can keep moving on. And especially in the area of education by connecting the schools. Thank you very much. Now we are coming to our last speaker, and I would like now to turn to Mr. Xinhui Wang, who is the Vice President of the ZTE Corporation from China. Mr. Wang, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thanks, my friend Boka. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, to President Kagame and Rwanda government for hosting this fantastic event. And I would also like to thank ITU for launching this Partner to Connect initiative. That's absolutely needed. You know, in interest of time, I don't want to skip our lunch. Just here goes the main course. I will use one of the official languages of the United Nations, which is my mother tongue, Chinese. Thank you. 互联网和信息革命给人们的生活带来了前所未有的变化。如今，我们依然在追求极致网络性能的道路上积极探索，以更好地满足千行百业的数字化转型需求，助力智慧城市，提升社会治理效率，尤其是以创新的方式来重振受到疫情严重影响的全球经济，以实现经济的快速恢复和高质量发展。但与此同时，我们也要注意到，全球依然有29亿人无法享受到互联网带来的便利，尤其是在发展中国家、陆地、岛屿国家等地区，普遍存在着电子设备渗透率低、电信基础设施落后、网络的建设和维护成本高，以及人员专业能力匮乏等非常切实的问题。那么，以往的经验告诉我们，数字化是实现联合国可持续发展目标的最有效手段之一。那么，中国作为世界上最大的发展中国家，我们通过“一带一路”、对口援助以及多边经贸等各种途径，传递优秀经验，共同应对可持续发展战略中的各种问题，推动构建人类命运共同体的价值追求。那么中兴呢，作为全球领先的信息通讯制造商，我们秉承大道至简、唯快不破的经营理念，致力于成为数字经济的注入者，在低碳、环保等可持续发展课题上以身作则，同时积极贡献全球社区，与我们的伙伴和客户一起践行企业使命。在此，我代表中兴做出如下的承诺：到2025年，我们每年为最不发达国家、内陆发展中国家和岛屿发展中国家建设价值4亿美金的基础设施，以帮助这些国家和地区加快实现数字化赋能，加速弥合数字鸿沟。With this, it concludes my pledge. Thank you for your attention. Boka, back to you. Thanks.
Right on time. Thank you, Mr. Wang, for outlining your pledge. And I would like also to thank again all the panelists who have made pledges during this session across the P2C focus area. So very quickly, as a takeaway, what our session itself alone has demonstrated is that the P2C Digital Coalition has really helped bundle some existing and new initiatives together and put the spotlight on the many different ways that partnership across access, adoption, value creation, and acceleration can help contribute to achieving our targets of universal connectivity and thereby achieving the Sustainable Development Goal. Now, there is not much time left, so before I close the session, let me present what Samina Council has pledged and implemented and is pledging to the P2C initiative, and as a complement to our own collaborative effort that we are undertaking to ensure that digital economy and societies are inclusive and human-centered and ultimately sustainable. Samina has made official pledge to support and advocate the objective of the ITU's Partner to Connect Digital Coalition across all the 4 focus areas by using its advocacy channels and committing to collaborate with ITU and its P2C partners. Our pledge were made officially and launched during our leadership summit on May 9, 2022 in Dubai as follows. We have pledged to publicly support and promote through media-rich articles in Samina Trend all the objectives laid out by the P2C Digital Coalition and the action framework during 2022. We have also pledged for a period of 6 weeks during the months of May and June to publicly support and promote the objective laid by the P2C Digital Coalition, the P2C action framework during 2022 in the Samina Daily newsletter. We have also pledged and targeted the active promotion of the objective laid out by the coalition and its action framework during the summit on 9 May on the session 360-degree view. Furthermore, we would like to announce our joint pledge with Smart Africa, which targets the implementation in 30 Smart Africa member countries of the first recommendation of the Broadband Commission for Sustainable Development, which is broadening the base of contributors in the financing of digital infrastructure. And just very quickly to summarize, that will lead to encouraging mobile network operators to adopt data-driven business model, facilitating the collaboration between mobile network operators and non-network operators in the investment related to the digital infrastructure, improving the taxation models of the government to adopt with the current trends of digital economy, alleviating burdens on the operator with some incentive likes in the spectrum allocations, encouraging the implementation of blended finance models where all players can contribute in the investment of the digital infrastructure, meaning using new instrument, and lastly, facilitating new contribution models that can go beyond the traditional models, which more impact in the ecosystem. So with that, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a big thank to all panelists for the extraordinary contribution to the P2C Digital Coalition. And I believe together we stand strong and can contribute to achieving our goals of universal connectivity and the SDGs and Agenda 2030. With this, I declare the session. Just, John, I allow you 1 minute. You can take the.
It's less than a minute. Thank you very much, Boka. I think even as we sit in this panel, let me take from the continent where I work, you still get the feeling that the idea around P2C is to put all these little jigs together so that people work in partnership. Even as we sit here, you still get a sense of pledges that are about or around the same thing, but each and every person is making a pledge. Yet working together, I think we could achieve a lot more. So the ITU, the comment I have is that the ITU needs to probably still work a little bit more to ensure that ideas that have certain common threads are put together so that the partners that are pledging them work together as much as possible. And while I have the mic, on behalf of the Gambian minister, is inviting you for lunch straight after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was actually something I was about to say, that we have 2 lunches coming up now, one at 12:30 on Terrace 3, hosted by Gambia. Thank you. And then a second lunch at 1:30, which will be hosted by Thailand in the square tent. So we will resume here again at 2:30. Thank you so much, Bokar and panelists. It's been an incredibly interesting morning, and I know the afternoon will also be fantastic. So see you back here at 2:30.